Verses 16 and 17, he caused all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, each one, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, that no man might buy or sell save he that hath the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. This verse, did it freak you out a little bit? I mean, this verse said there was a kid, it's like, well, I don't know, man, this mark of the beast, it's a scary thing. And it is a scary thing. The truth is, without Jesus Christ, you ought to be terrified. You ought to be. Fear is not a bad thing. Fear is a good thing. Fear is the beginning of wisdom. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. Now, I'm going to say some things this morning, and I completely understand. There are so many thoughts and ideas about what we're going to talk about this morning. And you're not going to agree with everything I say. And I'm fine with that. Because I don't agree with everything I say myself. Okay? I'm okay with that. And I highly agree with anything you say. So, I mean, it's all right. So, we have differences on this. I'm going to give you, from my limited knowledge, all right, so take it 3 seconds, on what I think of what's going on here. Because the truth is, listen to me, I'm here, how smart you are. You don't know. We have some ideas. But if you think you know, write a book, make a bunch of money, and in 10 years you'll be wrong. Okay? That's how this works. A mark. We've all heard about this, the mark of the beast. And I remember as a kid, in the 80s, it was actually, yes, I think, in the 80s, Mikhail Gorbachev. Remember the Russian president? He had this birthmark on his head. It was purple. His birthmark is what it was. There it is! That's the mark of the beast! And we were convinced that here it is. This president of Russia, of course, Gog and Magog, this is the Antichrist. It's the mark of the beast. And then during the same time, Ronald Reagan was president. We'll talk about this in a minute. But his name is Ronald Wilson Reagan. And there are 6 letters for Ronald, 6 letters for Wilson, 6 letters for Reagan. And certainly he is the Antichrist. They were wrong. He's dead. Right? It's not him. And so much of what we'll say, listen, it's speculation. I'm telling you the truth. I'm not going to be dogmatic. I can't be dogmatic. I can't. I could be. I won't. You can't make me. I won't. I've been this too long. I've been in fundamental churches since the time I was 7 years old. I've heard almost all of it. I've seen guys on television say this is this, and the next year it's something else. Okay? So let me talk to you about this morning. Remember, this is written in the 1st century. And we have to constantly go back to that. You know, in the 1st century, it was very common for soldiers and for slaves to be tattooed, to be marked. They're marked. Matter of fact, it was very common for temple devotees who had false gods and deities to be marked, to identify them with the deity that owned them. They were tattooed. They were marked. And this has the idea of a mark or a seal, like that. And so we understand that was going on during those days. Those people, when they read this, they would have been familiar with some kind of mark that identified them with the state, with the military unit, with a owner, or with a deity. Okay? No big deal. And in our world today, we may not have tattoos on our foreheads and our arms that identify us with, our gods and those things. But we have ways to identify individuals. Let me read something for you. And again, I'm not being dogmatic, but I just want to give you things to think about. The truth is, I think after this morning, it will spark within you and your family and your friends some real topics that you can talk about. And I'll be glad to assist you with that and encourage you to keep on talking about those things. Listen to this. This is from an AP article, I don't know, maybe more than a year old now. Fingerprint phone scanners help companies track workers from New York. Some workers are doing it, scanning phones and fingers, at Dunkin' Donuts, Hilton hotels, even at Marine Corps bases. This really bothered me because when I go to the States, I really like Dunkin' Donuts. And I don't know if I can continue to go there with all this kind of crazy stuff going on, but I feel like the coffee Employees at a growing number of businesses are starting and ending their day by pressing a hand or a finger to a scanner that logs the precise time of their arrival and departure. Information that is automatically reflected in payroll record. Manufacturers, I'll skip that. The new systems have raised complaints, however, from some workers who see the efforts to track their movements as excessive or creepy. This is not a Christian article. This is just from the AP, Associated Press, New York. They don't even have to hire someone to harass you anymore. The machines can do it for them, said Ed Ott, Executive Director of the New York City Central Labor Council of the AFL-CIO. The Paul Brent thing really grabs people as a step too far. You know, we read this years ago and think, that's ridiculous. There's no way. You're going to tell me you won't be able to buy or sell unless you have a mark, unless you're scanned, unless it's on your finger or your forehead or your palm of your hand. I'm not saying this morning that workers at Dunkin' Donuts are part of the Antichrist or his system. Okay? I'm not saying that. What I'm telling you this morning is, we're not talking science fiction anymore. We're talking about reality that Big Brother, you know, Orwell had a great book in 84, right? 1984. And it was like, wow, how far-fetched is this? Orwellian Big Brother's watching. It is not far-fetched. We are past that. We're well past that. You can get on the internet now from Google and you can have a satellite punch in where your house is at and see it. There are spots in New York City that you can go to. And you can see people right in live time, walking and talking and communicating and doing business. What's this mark in Revelation? Here's my answer. I don't know. I don't know. We know this. This mark is simply a token that those who worship the beast and serve will serve as identification for him. And it will be necessary to do business. For the necessities of life, you'll have to have some kind of mark that says, hey, you can buy groceries. You can fill up with gas. You can do these things. Verse 18. Here's wisdom. Now, I got to tell you something. This verse, out of all verses, more ink, an ocean of ink has been spilled about this verse. I'm not exaggerating. There are more books and pamphlets and articles on this verse than probably, I don't want to say more than John 3:16, but it's extensive. Verse 18, here's wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast. What is the number of man? And his number is 600, 60, and 6. The number of the beast, 666. What's he talking about? What does that mean? Does that mean we get the number 666 on my forehead? What does that mean? I want to talk to you just for a couple minutes and give you some ideas here, and then we're going to make some application on this. There are lots of thoughts about this verse. The number 6 in the Bible is the number of man. 7 is perfection, that's God. Number 6 is always the number of man. Man is limited, man is human, man is sinful. And there are those who think, well, this talks about the fact that man is limited, he's sinful. He is not perfect, and this Antichrist is not perfect. He's not God. There's a limit to him. We find this idea throughout the Bible. If you recall that statue, that image that Nebuchadnezzar made, the height was 66 cubits tall and 6 cubits wide. So there's this idea that, you know, man is limited, man is sinful, but there's more to that than this. There has to be. Because John says, count. Count the number. Why do we get to count the number? 6 just means it's just an imperfection, or it's just a guy, or whatever. I'll give you some interesting thoughts this morning. Before Arabic numbers came into play, all alphabetic languages had numeric equivalents. So my name would be Rick. It'd actually be Richard. I don't get called that when I'm in trouble. Richard, right?